Hello again, hope you're doing well. Welcome to another Whiteboard Wednesday. And today I'm going to show you the importance of estimating in points. Not only am I going to teach you how to do it, but then I'm also going to teach you what benefits you can gain from it. So let's, first thing first, let me show you how to actually estimate in points. And how we're going to do that is with a simple game called Planning Poker. Feel free to Google it, it's all over the place. But what I have here actually is some cards. And what the cards actually are is they're, simply put, a rough Fibonacci series. And so we have, cards for all different numbers. 1, 2, 3, here's a 5, 8, 13, 20, 40, and the big dog is a 100. Now, I actually bought these cards from a website, crisp.se, and I'll put that in the link underneath the video. But actually, I have gotten creative previously, and you get this mega stack of business cards. Feel free to get crafty and make them out of your business cards as well. Yeah, I handed them off to the receptionist, and she did it for me. Actually, it was pretty nice. We're developers. We don't need 1,000 business cards. Use them for something. But just go ahead and go buy them as well. 4 hands, I think, per deck for like 15 bucks or something. Really reasonable. So how that is actually played then is you have this Fibonacci series worth of cards. Team of about 4 to 6 estimators probably works best. And you all sit down and you hold them out and you say the task or whatever has to be completed, user story, bug, and you all put down your card at the same time. If you all are the same, then great. That's the point of it, is to say, oh, all right, this task is 8 points. If you're different, the point of the game is to start conversation and say, hey, why do you think it's this high and why do you think it's this low? Rinse and repeat until you converge on a single number again. So that's how you actually introduce point estimation rather than time estimation. And the question I get a lot is, why would I estimate in points rather than time? And I guess the biggest reason why I see why to estimate in points is it creates more of an egoless environment. That's what I always say. In the sense that a lot of the times when we actually estimate in time, we start getting all wonky and kind of all crazy. And we start both underestimating, and then we also start becoming inconsistent with our estimates. Things like if I have a task that has, let's say, a particular complexity, I may say, well, that may take 20 hours. And then 5 minutes down the road, when I get a task of the exact same complexity, actually, I'm kind of already tainted because I'm estimating in hours, that I already start thinking about how I can shave time based on that I've done this before, which may not necessarily be the point. So you actually you're not being consistent on, I have a task that has a difficulty of this big, therefore I should estimate of something this big. You start getting fluctuations within your estimate when you do hours. I could go on forever about the difference between point and hour estimation, but that's not my point here. In fact, that's a great another Whiteboard Wednesday idea. So the point is that now you have all your tasks that have particular points assigned to them. There is no magic number of this particular complexity task has this particular point amount. Our team has, we kind of all did something and we came up with a task that said, all right, we said that this task has a complexity of 8 points. That's kind of our poster child from now on. Anything that's like it is an 8. Anything that's harder than that is above an 8. Anything that's easier than that is below an 8. And then just gauge off of that. It may take your team 1 or 2 tasks to kind of find what, kind of what is what. But quick and easy way to estimate. Very easy. Great online version of it at planningpoker.com. If you have a remote team and you need kind of like a chat room, if you will, to play the game. So with that, how are we going to use that to gain visibility into our project? And the answer is simply a burn-up chart. So that's what I have behind me here. With a burn-up chart, let's assume that the x-axis is time, and in this case, let's say iterations. With this is the number of points per iteration or per step. So in this case, at the beginning of the project, let's hypothetically say that we have 50 points worth of stories or tasks to be done. And obviously at the beginning of the project we have nothing done, so we have 0. Well, as the project progresses, obviously bugs are introduced into the system, or new user stories or features are created. So of course our ceiling is always going to end up growing. But the point is that we want to catch up to that line or converge on it with what we can actually accomplish. So here, as we tromp through iteration 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're attempting to catch up to our ceiling. And that's why it's called a burn-up chart. You can do the same going down, but it's easier to fluctuate your ceiling rather than your floor. And so I like doing burn-up charts instead. So the point is that this gives you a lot of visibility into your project. First visibility is what is our average velocity? So if we can we consume 30 points of velocity a week as a team? You know, because it's kind of nebulous. You know, we're all going to be working 40 hours a week per person anyways. That's not the question. The question is how much difficulty can we consume in one iteration or one week, a month, what have you. So what is the velocity per points, complexity points, per team member per team? So we have that. The other thing is, what is the average velocity of the growth? Meaning, okay, if we have a particular project and for every 8 points that we put into the system, 24 points worth of bugs get put in, we know now that we may be in trouble. So that's some visibility right there. If our lines are converging, or pardon me, diverging, we have a problem. Our project is in serious trouble because we're never going to be able to finish. And what we can also get then is visibility into when those lines are going to converge. So if we take our average rate here of, you know, our completion rate of, let's say, again, 30 points per iteration, and this has an average growth rate of, let's say, 15 points per iteration, if we draw lines going out as far as we need to go, eventually at some point they're going to, you know, converge, and then we just draw a line down and say, oh, that's at about iteration 7, that technically we should be complete if we have you know, if we keep going on these trend lines, which is really, really nice, because within 4 or 5 iterations you can technically plan out years in advance you know, where you're actually going to be. So that's really nice. So like I said, you know, you can track your velocity both in terms of domain growth, in terms of completion, and again, you can do it in an egoless environment that actually makes your estimations more exact. And another point, I'm going to digress, another point about the planning poker, using the Fibonacci series going from 20 to 40 to 100, another great reason for that is it automatically gives you buffer room as well. You know, somebody can estimate the difference between a 1-hour task and a 2-hour task fairly easily. I mean, I think we all can. But the person that tells you that they can estimate between a 20-hour task and a 21-hour task, you know, they're big fat liars. I'm sorry. So the more coarse or the more nebulous each of these tasks get, you know, as you throw out a 20 or a 40 or a 100, you're forced to actually add in buffer room, and that way you can make things a little bit more simplistic, and instead of always estimating in ranges, which I still recommend, by the way. So these are just a couple of ways that estimating in points can help your estimations become more exact. Now next week, normally I don't do Whiteboard Wednesdays every week, but next week I actually have another one planned out. It's actually a screencast, so you know, we should call it Screencast Sunday or something, I don't know, but it's actually going to be a screencast about how your bug tracker can actually help automate all of this and actually do it for you. So, until next week, have a good one.